Okay, Be'ezat Hashem, Na'aseh v'Natzliach. I want to welcome you to Ironside Lunch and Learn as we continue our study of Parashat Shavua. This week's Parashat Bo. Before we begin, I'd like to dedicate this lesson to a dear friend of mine's mother, Michael Ben Melech's mother, Devorah Fegel Bat Rezel. Be'ezat Hashem, that this Divrei Torah will be to her health and to Atzlacha in her getting better. And B'Klal Cholei Amo Yisrael. Now here we are in Parashat Bo. So we're in this 6-week period of the Jews being in Egypt. From Shemot until Mishpatim, there's the whole story of how they came into Egypt, enslaved, and they were redeemed by Moshe and then taken into the Sinai desert. The Ramban calls Sefer Shemot Sefer Hagola v'Geula. He says that this is the book that you experience both the exile and the redemption all in one. And it's true. In this Sefer, we see the whole story of how the Jews go into their first exile, 70 people going into a foreign land, the land of Egypt, and how they get rescued as a multitude of people, as a nation, in the time of Yetziat Mitzrayim by the hands of Moshe Rabbeinu. Now, the Sefer Shemot, even though they were discussing Parashat Bo, we're going to swing back and forth to all these parashot because they're all interlaced. They're all connected. They're all dealing with the Jewish people being in bondage in Eretz Mitzrayim. So Sefer Shemot begins, Ve'ele Shemot b'nei Yisrael habei Mitzrayim et Yaakov ishu veto ba'u. Right away, I can tell you this is a good pasuk. Ishu veto, that means a man and his house and travel. Ba'u, it's a good feeling. We were a welcomed guest. We were a welcomed guest in Egypt. We were a desired resident alien. They wanted us over there. Yosef Atzadik laid down the groundwork where he was given a permission by Paro to bring your family to Egypt. As a matter of fact, not only bring them, but let them have their own place. They can be in Goshen. It's like, imagine the President of the United States said, you know what, bring all your family, and I give them New Jersey. I give them a whole state where they can be. And not only that, I understand that they're sheep herders and they work with cattle, which is our avodah zarah. This is what we worship. Doesn't matter. Bring them. Give them their spot. I mean, imagine how much they had to bend over in order to welcome over Yosef's brothers, and it was a good thing. As a matter of fact, Yaakov Avinu went to Mitzrayim, blessed Paro. However, things quickly changed. And things changed even before Parashat Shemot. If we go back to Parashat Vayigash in Sefer Bereshit, the last pasuk of Parashat Vayigash reads like this. It says, Vayeshav Yisrael be'eretz Mitzrayim, be'eretz Goshen, vayachezu ba vayifru v'rebu me'od. The last pasuk of Vayigash says the Jewish people lived in Mitzrayim, lived in Goshen, and vayachezu ba, they held in it. They were already holding over there. What do you mean holding? They were already involved in Goshen and Mitzrayim. They were involved in the things that are going on over there. Vayifru v'rebu me'od. They multiplied. They became a multitude of people. They became a large nation. We have to stop right here. We just said a minute ago that they gave him their own place, Goshen. What are they doing in Mitzrayim? What are they doing in Mitzrayim? The reason why the Egyptians welcomed us is because they said, we'll give you a place where you can do whatever you want to do. Be yourself, be you. Be a Jew. Worship God. Work the way that you want to work. Stay any rules that you have. And we'll stay in Mitzrayim. But what happened at the end of Parashat Vayigash? The Jewish people started to bleed into Mitzrayim. What do? The Jews go into the shuk, into the market, and they see, oh, there's a guy over here selling spices. Nice, looks like he's really busy. There's good commerce over here. What does he do? He says, me too. He opens up a shop right next to him. You know the Jews, they run a sale, 50% off, starts to compete with them, he's making a ton of money. He goes to the next guy, he says, oh, tannery, leathers, I can do this, I have a lot of sheep. He goes into the market and he starts competing with the Egyptian over there. And you see that already he started to, instead of being in Goshen, he became a businessman in Mitzrayim. If we go back to Parashat Shemot, on Pasuk Zayin of the first parak, it says, ובני ישראל פרו וישרצו וירבו ויעצמו במאוד מאוד ותמלא הארץ אותם. Here already it started to progress to a higher level. Everybody was in the marketplace making business. The Egyptian comes home, his wife goes to him, okay, how was Parashat this week? How did you make this week? It's like, it's tough. Ever since the Jews started to move in, I can't make as much. What about the grocery? What about the kids? It's tough. We'll see how we'll make it. Chazal tell us, when it says, they said even in the nighttime, when it was their leisure time, when the Egyptian wanted to go on date night with his wife to a theater or to a sporting event, he comes to buy a ticket. What happens? The guy at the front door tells him, sold out, no more space. What happened? That Jew just came with 120 of his family and they bought the last ticket. He says, oh my God. At work, he's over there. When I go out, he's over there. What happens? The next pasuk tells you. This is the conversation of Paro and the Egyptians. It says we gotta resist. We gotta do something against what's going on over here. In case it becomes even a larger multitude than what it is right now. Anyways, what happened here in this pasuk is the rise of anti-Semitism. Here is the beginning of the rise of anti-Semitism. They say, hey, the Jew is everywhere. Everywhere I go, I have to deal with him. Why? Because the Jews did not stay in Goshen. The Jews didn't stay in Goshen being what they were supposed to do. Remember, when Yaakov Avinu told Yehuda, he tells him, go Goshna. What's Goshna? Go put the hay in Goshen. Go put the Torah in Goshen. Go put Hashem in Goshen. Go open up a yeshiva. Go open up a synagogue. Go open up a place where when our children come. Because Yaakov Avinu, also, if you remember, he was scared to go to Mitzrayim. He says, how is it going to be? My children are going to be in this toxic city. And this is Las Vegas to the millionth power. 9 kabin, the 9/10 of the world's tum'ah was over there. 9/10 of the world's kishuf was over there. He says, how? I got my daughters, I got my sons. What's going to happen if they're going to be in that area? Kadosh Baruch Hu said, I'm going to go out with you. It's going to be okay. He was worried about it. Worried about what? Worried about this. That the Jews did not stay in Goshna. They came out. And what happened? The Egyptians say, when you are a representative of Hashem, when you guys are promoting Hashem, when you guys are in Goshen just being Jews, we love you. Stay there. But when you're coming into my town and you're trying to compete with me, you're a Jew that's trying to be a Mitzri, that's when I can't tolerate you. And that's the rise of anti-Semitism. When the Jew competes with the Goy, I had to be a Goy. Had to be a better Goy. Now, I'll ask you a question. How different is the Egyptian Jew from modern day Jew? How different is the scenario that I just explained to you than today, than this very minute that we live in? I can tell you right now, if I open up the newspaper or if I turn on the news, what's one of the top stories that you see? Anti-Semitism is on the rise. Why? Why? They'll tell you. The anti-Semites will tell you. Because the Jews are controlling the banks. Because the Jews are in charge of all the movie studios. Because the Jews are monopolizing the real estate. The Goy will tell you why he hates you. There's a famous saying that says, Yehudi shelo mekadesh, ba Goy v'oseh lo avdala. A Jew that doesn't come and try to become holy, and he starts to stray away from from the Jewish way of life, what happens? The Goy comes, he's going to separate. He's going to say, no. You're not like me. You're not like me. We're different. I'm going to show you how different we are. And everything we know, ein od milvado. Akol me'et Hashem. There's no such thing that something's happening in the world that is not from God. So even this message from the anti-Semites, it's just a message from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. They're just messengers. What is the message? There's no balance. There's no balance in Jewry. There's no balance in the Jewish life. What's the lack of balance? We're supposed to be the promoters of Hashem. We're supposed to be the ones that are representing God. We're the people of the book. We're the people that are here to do the tikkun of the world. So instead of busying ourselves with Torah, mitzvot, and maasim tovim, what happened? We want to become professional goyim. We want to be the top of their world. So because there's a lack of over there, that there's more people trying to be goyim than people trying to be Jews, HaKadosh Baruch Hu sent you the message of anti-Semitism, just like it was in Mitzrayim. Just like it was in Mitzrayim. The goy likes the Jew when he's a Jew. The minute the Jew tries to compete and beats the goy at his game, what happens? Right away, sin'ah. As it says in Perik Kuf Hey in Tehillim, it says, Hafach libam lisno amo litnakel ba'avadav. What happened? The heart turned. It's by design. It's by design. And what's happening nowadays is also by design. This is all to show us the lack of balance. Now here's the thing. When you're a Jew, what's expected of you? The rabbis will tell you. If you're a busy man, at least wake up in the morning, pray. After you pray, if you can study a little bit Chokli said in the morning, a little bit at night, the rabbis even wrote it down to see if you can do 2 hours a day. If you can do a little bit better, study the first half in the morning. Check yourself into a kollel for Baalei Batim. You can do a little bit better, study the whole day. You can do better, learn and teach. Teach somebody else. You can do more, go be a mashpia on the world. There's no ending to it. But do your part. But when a person wakes up in the morning and says, you want me to go to shul? What, are you kidding me? I have a meeting at 8 o'clock in the morning. Oh, you want me to go to a class? I'm tired. I've been working all day. You want me to come to a class on Sunday night at 7 o'clock? That's my weekend. He says, I have to show you that you're in the wrong place. You don't want, He's going to show you. He's going to come and show you what you're supposed to be doing. You're too busy making money. You're too busy making their businesses flourish. As a matter of fact, one of the most beautiful pesukim of Shir HaShirim. You know, the Goyim also, they're smart. They're smart. They know that when Jews are in their country or in their city or in their state, they're going to be successful. They know that the economy rises. They know that the commerce starts to rise. There's a pasuk in Shir HaShirim that says, Al tir'uni shani shechachorет sheshezafetni hashamesh. Don't look at me that I got tanned, that I look black, that I'm unrecognizable. Why? Because the sun tanned me. The sun here is mashal to the goyim. The goyim have all this influence on us that it changed the way that we look. They got me busy watching their vineyards. My vineyard I neglected. In other words, what did they do? No problem. Come, run my company, run my bank, run my this. They got us so busy doing their work, bringing up their culture, that karmi sheli, my responsibility, lo natarti. What's my responsibility? Where's my prayer in the morning? Where's my studying? Where's my teaching? Where's my going Torah mitzvot and maasim tovim? I'm busy. I'm working. I'm making money. I have to make a living. I can't. Shlomo HaMelech is telling us over here something unbelievable. It's always been like this. That you become unrecognizable. That you can walk in the street and you don't even know that it's Rosh Chodesh. That you can walk in the street on Shabbat and you say, Shabbat. It becomes like a Tuesday for you. Or it becomes like a Sunday. Karmi sheli lo natarti. When you get to that stage that you don't know what it is, Hashem says, no problem. Anti-Semitism. That's going to give you the wake-up call. Because why? Because then it defines you. When you're not ready to define yourself as a Jew, the Goy comes and says, no, you are a Jew. And he says, but I'm not even connected to anything. I don't even go to shul. Doesn't matter, you're a Jew. And it starts to make you think, am I a Jew? What kind of a Jew am I? As a matter of fact, this whole thing of Samunin Oterat HaKeramim, that they have other countries are sometimes they invite the Jews to come in. Their economy is collapsing. All of a sudden, what they do? The right of return for the Jews from the Spanish Inquisition from 1492. 600 years later, sorry, come back. Why come back? Because they want us to pick up their economy. Because they see what happens when Jews come to America. They see what happens when Jews go to Europe. They see what happens when Jews go to Israel. As a matter of fact, the Jews in Egypt were so caught up in Egyptian life. They got so sucked in to Mitzrayim that they were on the 49th level of Tum'ah, a very, very low level. They were seconds away from falling to the 50th, which is the point of no return. As a matter of fact, the time of Yetziat Mitzrayim, it says that Yam Suf was on a condition that the day comes that the Jewish people are going to stand in front of you and you have to split. But what happens? He says, Halalu of the Avodah Zarah, Halalu of the Avodah Zarah. He says, I see the Egyptians in front of me and I see the Jews in front of me. They both look the same. Who's the Jew? They are both the exact same thing. You want me to split for who? They all look like this. They are the same. They're on such a low level. As a matter of fact, even Moshe Rabbeinu, when he was encountered by Hashem by the burning bush, he also had a little bit of doubt with the Jews. In Perek Gimel Pasuk Bet it says, he says, he sees something more, he sees a bush very far away, he sees something burning, he sees it's a small bush, a small little tree, but the thing is not turning into a crisp. The thing is not falling into pieces. So he's curious, how is it possible that something like this can happen? He looks a little bit closer, and he sees the leaves are green, the branch is brown, nothing is getting burned. There's a huge fire around it, but it's not getting burned. By the way, the word sneh is also the same words of hanes, the miracle. What's the miracle? The miracle here, that Moshe Rabbeinu didn't believe that the Jewish people are going to accept him as a leader, let alone believe that he's going to save them, and let alone be able to be pulled out of the 49th level of Tumah that they're in. It says over there, Lo ya'aminu li velo yishme'u b'koli. They're not going to believe me. They're so steeped in Avodah Zarah. I'm going to come and you think they're going to just turn around in 1 second? So Hashem reveals himself to Moshe Rabbeinu in the sneh to tell him, you got it all wrong. You know why I'm showing it to you in the sneh? Because I'm about to reveal to you hanes, the miracle. The miracle of what? The miracle of the Jewish people. Yeah, you see them right now. They are right now being burnt up. They're being eaten up by Egypt. But they're lo nechalim. They're not going to disappear. Why? B'ni bechori. They're my firstborn. These are my children. It says, Lo yasu shevet b'Yehuda. They will never disappear a tribe from the nation of Israel. So what's happening over here? He gives him an example. He tells him, you're going to see that the Jewish nation are very easy to be brought back. He gives him a couple of examples. He gives him a couple of miracles, otot, muftim. One, he tells them, take your staff, piece of wood, and he says, throw it on the earth. And what happens? As soon as it hits the ground, it turns into a snake. After that, he tells them, grab the snake by the tail, and as soon as he grabbed it by the tail, what happens? It turned back into a staff. Many, many things have been said about this miracle and its meaning. This is a novel interpretation that I was able to piece together. It's be'emet nogea to everyday life. He says, this staff, this piece of wood that you're holding onto, etz chaim hi lamachzikim ba. This is the Torah. When you're holding on to it, you have nothing to worry about. But as soon as you go down to the earth, as soon as you throw down the Torah, and now you're dealing with earthly things, what happens? That's where you're going to find the snake. That's where you're going to find the Yetzer Hara. As soon as you let go of the Torah, what happens? Nachash. But he says, I know you're worried. 210 years, they're right now avadim. They're slaves for 210 years. You're going to say, they'll never believe me. But he says, but all good and bad things must come to an end. So right now, this avdut of 210 years, he tells them, grab the snake at the end. It's the sof. It's the end of the avdut. And what happens? He says, as soon as you grab it, what happened? It turned into a staff. Why? Which means what? That a Jew can come back from the 49th level of Tum'ah to the 50th level of Dusha instantly. Why? Because we're ma'aminim b'nei ma'aminim. Just like we have in Pesach, in Leila Seder, we're regular people. Yet the rabbis tell us on that night everyone is on the 50th level. How? What did we do? Did I do anything special? In a split second it's possible. So he says in Pasuk Hey Lamed Aleph, Moshe was so worried about what's going to be with the Jewish people when he comes in. And the Pasuk reads like this. Vayamen ha'am vayishme'u. The nation, Am Yisrael, believed him and they listened to him. What happened, Moshe? You thought that they weren't going to listen to you. But just like the snake, in 1 second it went from being snake to a staff. That's the Jewish people. That's us. No matter how steeped we are into the Egyptian life, no matter how steeped we are right now into the Goyish life and where we are in Miami, in New York, in LA, in Timbuktu, anywhere that you are, a Jew, you just grab him one time, you give him one Dvar Torah, one little nifnuf on his neshama, boom, Etz Chaim Le'Chazikim Ba. He comes right back. Just like it happened to the Jews over there, it's possible for us today. As a matter of fact, something very interesting. In this week's Parashat Bo, we have Makat Choshech, the 9th plague of the 10 plagues of that Moshe brought on Mitzrayim. The rabbis tell us there's a machloket if it was 1 week plague, 3 week rest, 1 week plague, 3 week rest, or the other way around, 3 weeks for the plague and 1 week the rest. But whatever it is, after 9 plagues, we're talking about the big bulk of the year. 80% of the year, you're getting it on the head. Frogs, boils, darkness, blood. The Egyptian people should have been beat up by now. Ironically, in Pasuk Yud Gimel, Pasuk Aleph, something very, very strange. In Pasuk Yud Gimel, it says over there, Vayimtza chen, am I in Bo? Yes. Yud Gimel Aleph. No, it's not here. Vayimtza chen ha'am be'enei ha'mitzrim. All of a sudden, in Makat HaChoshech, the Egyptian people started to like the Jews. Makes no sense. Now you should know Makat HaChoshech was not just, they turned off the lights and everybody's sitting in the darkness. It was a very thick darkness from outer space that came down, froze people in space, they couldn't move. Imagine for a week they couldn't move. And right after this plague, the Egyptians said, you know what, we like these Jews. These Jews are great. How could it be? Rabbi Mansour one time said, when I was speaking to him in a parking lot after one of his classes, I overheard this chidush. Just imagine, I hear him talking to other people, I heard one of the best chidushim I've ever heard in my life. He says, you know why the Egyptian people loved the Jews after Makat Choshech? Because the Jew acted like a Jew. He says, what happened? During Makat Choshech, what could have happened? The Jews could have went right now to that frozen Egyptian, because the Jews were able to walk around and go to that beautiful necklace, that they have, the Egyptian necklace, and taken off his neck. Could have taken his beautiful Rolex off of his hand, could have gone to where he hid his gold, could have cleaned them out. But what did the Jew do? They stayed honest. They acted like a Jew. They followed the word of God. They said, that's how we like you guys. We like you when you're like this. Not when you're trying to copy me. Not when you're trying to be like me. When you're trying to be better than me in my own game. I don't need you to be a Mitzri. I don't need you to be Tameh. I need you to be holy. That's how I like you. In Makat Choshech, vayimtzeu chen be'enei ha'am, be'enei ha'mitzrim. The Goyim like us when we act like Jews. Hashem likes us when we act like Jews. In Makat Choshech, 80% of the Jews died. only 20% made it. Imagine, I just told you about the Egyptians going through 9 makot. As a Jew, you're seeing 9 makot. You see the hand of God every single week, a new show. It's like, you go and you look around, you're like, wow, who's making this? There's a giraffe and an elephant and a polar bear in my backyard. Last week there was frogs. Last 2 weeks, 3 months ago, I had blood in the Ye'or. Who's making all this? Shouldn't you, as a Jew, shouldn't it move your heart? Shouldn't it make you think, it's time to make teshuvah? They say that during Makat Choshech, there were still Jews that did not believe. Still Jews that worshipped Avodah Zarah. Still Jews that didn't go, that didn't flip over. Makat Choshech, they got taken care of. 80% of the Jews died in Makat Choshech. And they said, just like the first Geulah is going to be the final Geulah. The final Geulah, the one of now, of Ikvita de Mashiach, that we're in the heels of Mashiach, that it's about to happen any day now, any year now, any week now, any month now. All the signs are there. The Baal Shem Tov says, he says, when you see that Russia invades Crimea, put on your, you know that Mashiach is already here. And we saw that, had they annexed, what they call it, Kremlin or Crimea. Just happened. The Baal Shem Tov hundreds of years ago predicted this. And he says the time when Russia invades Constantinople, which is nowadays Turkey, he says, put on your Shabbat clothes and don't take it off. We already saw the agitation between Turkey and Russia not too long ago. In the time of Ikvita de Mashiach, 80% are also not going to make it. In the time of now. So the question is, what part are you in? Are you part of the 20%? Or are you part of the 80%? What type of a Jew are you? Are you the Jew that acts like a Mitzri? Or are you going to be the Jew that is going to find favor in the eyes of Hashem and in the eyes of the Goyim? This is the time to feel a little bit more connected to the time that we live in. You turn on the news, Paris is burning. Ishmael is already showing their real face everywhere. They're not ashamed to say we're here to take over the world. Their schut in the Shamayim is ending. Their 1,300 years of chesed l'kadosh baruch Hu is on its head. So what happens when you're about to slaughter an animal? After you slaughter it, it starts to shake, starts to move. That's what's happening. It's malach in the Shamayim, it's tzar in the Shamayim is getting slaughtered. So what's happening? The nation down here is shaking because they don't have any more schut. So they're terrorizing the world. Ishmael is about to go down. Ishmael versus Edom, and then Ishmael and Edom are going to get together and go against Israel. And where are we going to be in all this? Are you going to be part of the 80% or the 20% that makes it? Food for thought. They should all connect to the Torah, mitzvot, ma'asim tovim. And even though that we're in olam ha-sheker, in the world that everything is a lie, what do we hold on? Etz chaim hi lamachzikim ba. Moshe emet v'Torato emet. That's the truth. B'ezrat Hashem shenizkeh la'geula, to the building, to Mashiach, to the building of the third Bet HaMikdash, and Chayei Olam Haba, and to having this lunch and learn go la'alot mala v'mala with more people shel zaket harabim. Shabbat shalom v'orach.